I'm Swamini Pramananda, known as Ammaji, easier for people, and I have been a teacher of Advaita Vedanta for a good 40 years of my life. My work goes under the name Purna Vidya. I have written 24 books on the sacred culture of India, which are being taught in educational systems, in communities. So I would say my work is basically, I have two verticals. One is the core teachings of Advaita Vedanta, and the other is, the second vertical is my work on the sacred culture of India. It's for us, it's not just the philosophy that has held India's spiritual, has helped India be declared as a spiritual civilization, but it's the philosophy as lived by the people over centuries, thousands of years. And so there is a container with what is contained, both are sacred. And so I work with both verticals. We do teachings and courses and workshops with retreats in this beautiful place on the banks of Ganga, Mother Ganga, and also in Tamil Nadu, where I have my headquarters. Yeah. So your question is, what is peace within the Vedic culture, within the Vedic context? Well, peace is not a goal for us. Peace is our essential nature. It's our truth. So one's essential nature is what is always with us. It's intrinsic to our existence, you know. It's not something you achieve. It's like sun, you know. The light of the sun is the essential, intricate, essential truth. It's not a property, incidental property. It's an intrinsic nature. So in the Advaita Vedanta tradition, the scriptures declare that peace is your essential nature, Sat Chit Ananda, and that peace is not a peace that emerges out of a context, a conducive context or a conducive situation. Peace is ever with you. You can never give it up and then do something to acquire it back, you know. It is you. Peace is not a thing, a property, it's you. That means we are all always at peace. Nature is always at peace. All life forms on earth are always at peace. The human being is at peace, whether we believe it or not, whether we know it or not. Then this will definitely lead to a question as to, then why don't I experience it? Why don't I live it? Why am I in search of it? Why is there so much pain? And here is where we say that the inner work, the spiritual work, or a soul's life journey is to eliminate, to drop that which blocks you to own up who you are. We are not picking up something which is not there. to reach a place which is a destination outside of yourself, we need to do a lot of things. We need a vehicle, we need tools, we don't have it now, we have to get it there, and so we have to work for it. One can't work for peace, you know. You cannot work for peace because there is nothing to work there. So it's about owning up. If I am in search of my glasses, which is already on my eyes, and I keep looking, where are my glasses? No? So, no, if you climb that tree, you will get it, or if you do this pranayama, you will get your glasses. I don't need to do anything. I need to just shed my ignorance. I need to know that I have always been the owner of my glasses. Then the question will be, if you are the owner of your glasses, why are you searching? It's just self-ignorance. So I need to be told, it needs to be pointed out. My attention needs to be drawn and told, hey, you are already the owner of your, possessor of your glasses. Then why am I searching? You are searching because you don't know. Come on, own up. So once I own up, there is a process of owning up, and that owning up process is more about disowning what I am not than owning up what I am. The more I shed behaviors and attitudes of division, of separation, me with my mind, me with my body, separation from my family, separation from friends, from the human society, separation from life forms, separation from the earth. These rhythms of a small ego thought system that keeps me isolated from everything else, always trying to achieve and conquer the other. These are the moves of a soul which is driven by self-ignorance. And so the more we understand what the destination is and what my blocks are, and I work to really, as we say, learn to live from love, from forgiveness, from compassion, learn to let go. Let's not make small things big, where the big things get forgotten, our main life journey gets forgotten. So, a peace is about owning up who you are and finding tools, tapping resources to strengthen ourselves so much that we let go. We have the courage and fearlessness to let go of thought systems, thought processes, philosophies, activities, where I get divided from my own humankind, from the earth, from the world, from the universe. Yeah.
Can you speak about the role of mantra and mantra meditation as a tool for this?
Mantra word itself is very beautiful. It comes from the root man, and mananat, not one, sorry, it comes from the root tra. Tra means to cross, trayate, no? So mananat trayate. By reflection, by reflecting on this mantra word itself is very beautiful. It comes from the root man, and mananat, not one, sorry, it comes from the root tra. Tra means to cross, trayate, no? So mananat trayate. By reflection, by reflecting on this mantra, one can cross the blocks, cross the ignorance, the dark tunnels of our life. So mananat trayate iti mantraha. And so when we take refuge in a mantra to connect with the universe, which is nothing but peace, which is nothing but that omniscience, that cosmic consciousness. And here is a small conscious being calling out for that cosmic peace. The power of that mantra, that declaration that you are here to own up that peace, not only for yourself but for all that is around you, the universe definitely responds. Universe has to respond because the universe is omniscience. The cosmic omniscience is the universe. If I respond to any call as a little person, as a conscious being, let's think of a cosmic consciousness. When we call, will the infinite not respond? And when the whole humanity calls for peace, definitely we are held in the love of the divine to heal, to drop all our patterns of silly ways we cause separation between ourselves. The divine helps us. That's the power of the mantra. And there are really very beautiful universal prayers in the Vedas, the oldest scripture of humanity, and many mantras have emerged with Veda as the basis. So these mantras, they are a call to the earth, call to the river, call to the forest. There is Bhu Suktam, there are Prithvi Suktam, there is Varuna Suktam. There are different Vedic mantras that are calling out to the life around to help us align in peace. There is one mantra which we all, it's simple, it's not Vedic, it doesn't have a source in the particular Veda, but it has its basis in the Veda. And it is universal in nature, and everyone can chant this mantra. It has 4 sections to it, and I will chant each section and then explain the meaning. It goes like this. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahimahishah Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. This is the first 4 units. It begins with Om, which is the name of the divine. This single syllable letter represents the cosmic consciousness. It begins with that because Om also represents the auspicious. So with auspicious beginning we begin the mantra chant. And the first line says Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam. So may the divinity take care of, nurture the people at large. Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha. May the human society, its rulers, the kings and the rulers, may they rule their countries on earth with Nyaya, with justice, with Dharma. Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam. Let there always be auspiciousness, let auspiciousness be there for Brahmanaha. Brahmanaha means the people of wisdom, the wise beings, the people who live a life of ethics, may they always be protected, in the auspicious, because when they are at peace, they are the sources of inspiration for others. And go, specifically the cow is mentioned because among all animals, cow is the most tender, the most divine, the most tender of animals, a great provider of your entire dairy industry on the planet. We cannot eat things without dairy these days, although we are working very hard to become vegans and whatnot. But not only for its dairy, but for its cow dung. In agricultural societies all over the world, cows and bulls were really the wealth of agricultural society. And in India even today, the cow is honored, and she is the source of our lifeline in villages, in deeper sections in India where agricultural society is still alive, in many villages, like in these Himalayan regions too. So the sacred cow is, we call her sacred because she is our provider, she is the mother, she is the essence of life. With her help, the earth becomes fertile, and she helps us till the land and helps our grains come up. And so she has to be protected. She cannot be killed, she cannot be abused, there cannot be violence towards life forms. And so let her be protected as the most auspicious one, and we serve her because she takes care of our families. So go brahmanebhyah shubham astu nityam. May there ever be, these two be ever protected, because they are vulnerable. A scholar is not a fighter, he is an intellectual. So he is vulnerable to physical bullying or strength. And so is the cow, she is tender and vulnerable. And so let them be protected in auspiciousness. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May our human family, the entire humanity be happy. Loka samasta sukhina bhavantu. After this comes the next 4 lines. Kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasyashalini deshoyam kshobarahitaha brahmana santu nirbhayaha. So kale varshatu parjanyaha, may the rains come on time. This is, every season, especially these days, when we have not been sensitive, giving due reverence due to the earth, to the planet. The planet also has no contract to give us what we require at the right time. When we don't honor nature, why would nature make sure that rains come on time and so on? And so let our activities not hurt nature. So may it rain on time, because without those rains we will not get our food. Kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi, let earth ever be prosperous. Let her be so fertile, Mother Earth, let her always nurture not only human beings, she has so billions of life forms looking for food from her for survival, including these trees and all beings, and therefore may she ever be giving us prosperity in food. Deshoyam kshobarahitaha, may our lands ever be free from famine, or even, ativrishti, anavrishti, we say, over flooding or under or drought. So let these extremes not happen to our earth. Brahmanaha santu nirbhayaha. May these people of wisdom who are tender beings connected to the cosmic, to the higher, and who would never hurt any life forms, they must never be hurt. And so may they ever live fearless. If I have the survivor instinct in me, if somebody comes near me to hurt me, I may become a ninja, get ready. But then if I am a saintly soul who am not a survivor in my beinghood, there is no survivor, then I am vulnerable to violence. And so I can become fearful in spite of living a life of purity and truth. So let my heart ever be free from any fear. Let such people of wisdom around in our human civilization remain fearless and be sources of inspiration for rest of society. Brahmanaha santu nirbhayaha. The third is Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. May all people be at peace. May they be happy. May all be at peace. Human beings and all life forms. Sarve santu niramayaha. May no life ever have disease. May they never be affected physically or mentally in any form that will give them pain. So, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. May auspiciousness ever be bestowed upon all life forms. Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. May no one ever have to participate in sorrow. May we never become instruments of contributing to sorrow in another life form. And so may there never be any engaging with sorrow for any life. And final mantra is Asatoma sadgamaya, Tamasoma jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Very beautiful concluding mantra. So, O cosmic consciousness, O divine being, lead me from untruth to truth. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from mortality, limitations, to a life of an immortal being, to freedom. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Every mantra ends with Shanti, which is chanted 3 times. It basically says, Om, peace, peace, peace. May there be peace, peace, peace. Why 3 times? Because we believe we have 3 sources of lack of peace. Ashanti comes from 3 sources.